3, 2, 1, boom. Live, episode 2, Kicking It with Liam Harrison. I've got two of my favourite people who I've met in the sport of Muay Thai with me today. Sat across from me, one of the best fighters the UK has ever produced, Dan McGowan. Sat next to him, he's a 5G conspiracy theorist. He thinks lizard men rule the earth, but he's all right with me. Mr. Simon Forrest. I've been really looking forward to getting you two on because you've got two both inspirational stories that are both coming from totally the opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm going to start with Dan, junior world champion, fighting in enough stadiums in Thailand, pro at 15, UK number 1 by 18. Just talk us through your journey a little bit, mate, please.
So, it was nothing kind of extravagant. I've lived a kind of working class life. My mum and dad weren't poor, they weren't rich. But I was a footballer at the start. I went to taekwondo classes when I was about 4 years old. Just started martial arts, and I knew that I loved kind of getting stuck in and stuff. And then I was getting disqualified as like doing taekwondo and stuff as a contact. So then I took the Thai boxing up. I think I was about 9 or 10. Then I started taking it really serious when I was about 11. And then I'd say my career started really like getting higher and higher when I moved to Liam Robinson's gym.
Who were you at before that?
East area gym.
Right. So
a local gym in Bedford. And then I moved to Liam's when I was about 14, and then that's when I started fighting in the stadiums. I was 15 when I first fought in Raja, and then just
going back to that. That's insane when you think about it. Really, your first pro fight in a stadium in Thailand. You've got a lot of fighters in the UK now are up at a decent level. They've never even been to Thailand and fought in Thailand, let alone in Rajadamnern. You did this as your first pro fight. Was this your first time without shin pads as well?
Yeah, first ever.
It's insane, really, isn't it, when you think about it?
I was speaking to my dad about it, and I was like, why did you even let me do that? Like, he come with me. We went for 2 weeks, and I was like...
Get in there, son. Go on, lad.
Like, why did you let me? Because my sister's nearly 15. I can imagine her going to Thailand. Or I know it's different, girls and stuff, but it is a bit of a mad story. Now, looking back on it, I'm like, it is fucking mad. But, yeah, I did that, and then I had my first one in Lumpini when I was 15 as well. So I started in Thailand really young, and then started fighting the Thai. I think.
And you won both of them, didn't you, in the stadiums as well?
In Rajadamnern and Lumpini, I've never been beaten. So I think I've had 9 fights altogether.
That's fucking impressive.
Yeah, so I've done well in them stadiums, but I've been bad as well in a different stadium. But,
when you went on from there, you came back and started building a massive reputation for yourself in the UK. I think I had one on one of my earlier shows as well. And you started to build up. Just talked about your journey as a UK fighter and getting to fighting for the UK number 1 spot against one of the guys who'd been in number 1 at his weight for many years, Paulo de Silva.
Yeah, so I think with my first A-class fight was on yours and Howson's show, and I think I had to lie about my age.
Yeah. I'm like, yes, Dan, he's 27.
Liam's always done that.
Liam Robinson had to lie about my age quite a lot at the start because obviously I was only 16 and I was supposed to be fighting in shin pads. So we got on, and you were probably the only one that kind of was like, yeah, go on.
Because I'd been fighting this since I was 14 against men and that, and I'd seen how good you were, and I'd be like, I'll be fucked if I'm letting this kid come on my show and go fight pro in the stadiums in Thailand and then come back down and put shin pads on. Because I used to remember I'd had a few fights with no shin pads, just like 5-2s. And then I remember Richard saying to me one time, you got to put your shin pads on for the next fight. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not putting no shin pads on again. That's what I thought. I thought, this kid's this talented. He's obviously going places. I thought, I'm not letting him do that. I said, yeah. Dan, he's 38 years old. He'll be sound. Don't worry about him.
Was that the Jason Dix fight?
So it's the Jason Dix. It was actually the second time you probably watched me. But yeah, I'd beaten Jason Dix. I was actually supposed to fight Tam McCourt originally, and then he pulled out, I think it's a weight cut issue or something, but he ended up in hospital, and then I ended up fighting Jason Dick, who was his stablemate, and I was like devastating performance. I think I stopped him in round 3.
That was the body shot.
4 body shots.
Yeah. But knees, and it was the body shot at the end. But and then I think that's when people started going, shit, like this kid's like can actually fight. And then I carried on. Then I started fighting like Reece Thompson. I went through the weight category, and then I think the Jordan Co was the big step up because I fought in Yokkao. It was a big stage, and then we had a war, and now we both cut each other, and then it was an exciting fight. Then I carried on, and then I fought Kieran McCaskill, beat him quite convincingly, and then that's when I got my opportunity to fight Paulo, and then that was a mad fight because I'd watched Paulo for years, so yeah, it was crazy.
That was. I remember I was being sat ringside for that with me and Andy who were screaming for you. Fucking block them low kicks, block them. But yeah, it was a really good contrast of styles. A heavy puncher and a low kicker like Paolo against yourself, who were a technician, and that were beautiful to watch. It was such a seasoned performance from someone so young, and obviously like the team you had around you at the time with Liam Robinson and all the other up and come fighters. You'd also spent a bit of time in Thailand, Pan Petch, and it all to be that seasoned and put a performance in at that age by 18, it were impressive.
Yeah, and I think that fight as well, I had to show my heart massively because, like you said, the low kicks, I was in bits for weeks after the fight. Like I couldn't walk, and I was getting carried. I had to get carried out of the ring. To be honest, still to this day, I shock myself how I even lasted the 5 rounds. So I think that's what makes me more proud about that one is I managed to dig deep and get the win.
Yeah, you still say that that's one of the worst fate you've been after a fight.
100%. I think I've fought higher level opponents since, and I've had hard fights technically, but yeah, in terms of kind of pain after, it was 100% the worst pain I've been in, definitely.
Simon, so your journey in Muay Thai completely different to Dan's, but also very inspirational. So you were borderline drug addict at one point. You can go that to say you're almost overdosed, and you were in hospital with a heart problem and all sorts. You found Muay Thai, it turned your life around, and you've come up now through the ranks and you're fighting for number one spots and stuff like that. Just talk to us a bit about your journey, because that's an inspirational story.
Yeah, so basically when I was younger, probably from about 15 to 25, I was pretty off the rails, going out every weekend, doing all sorts of drugs and drinking. Like I think it was when I was 22, I would go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday drinking vodka Red Bull.
Hell yeah.
If you remember back, you're the same age as me, back then sort of 12, 13 years ago, vodka Red Bull, that was the drink.
The in thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, I used to cane it, like proper cane it. And so like vodka, it's like slowing your heart rate down, Red Bull speeding it up, and then I think I was on steroids at the time as well, and sniffing cocaine and just all the rest of it, and then fucking taking Valium to come down off the coke. My heart didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, up, down.
Up, down. I think I was on the roof working and I started collapsing. My heart, and then I went to hospital and I got put straight on an ECG machine. My heart rate was going from 230 beats per minute, dropping to 34. Didn't know what it was doing.
That is fucking insane.
And I was going in and out of consciousness, and I got put on ICU, and I was the doctors didn't know what was going on. So everyone with this sort of problem, they're like in their late 70s, so they were talking about fitting me with a pacemaker and all sorts of shit.
So that were obviously happening. When did you find Thai boxing? When was the first time you walked into a Thai boxing gym, and what made you think, right, this is for me, this is going to make me turn my life around? So
I had my first son was born. I was about 25 years old, and I thought, I need to sort my life out now. Do you know what I mean? I got to fix up. I just sort of got off a year-long Valium addiction, and I was like, I'm now a dad. Do you know what I mean? I've got to sort my shit out. Hadn't done any cardio for probably since I was stopped playing football about 17. So I went to
probably a good job you're out of the fucking exploded by the sounds of it.
So I went to go circuit training. A couple of my mates said, "Oh, come Thai boxing." I didn't even know what Thai boxing was. I was like, I like the sound of that. So I went with them and just fucking loved it from the word go, really. And then I got an addictive personality, clearly. I
was going to mention this later on. Obviously you have, and that is one of your strongest weapons in Muay Thai, because you train harder than anyone I know, especially with your job and stuff. You've fought at top level in the UK fighting for number one spots, but you're getting up at 5 a.m. every morning to go to work, working all day, then coming back to the gym and stuff. That's impressive on its own, without fighting, without having a family and all that stuff. So
yeah, it's hard. I mean, Daniel knows, because he works for me when he's not. Now always his problem with his hand and that, so he's been working with me. But I get up at like 4:30, leave for work at 5, travel like 2 hours sometimes into London, work till like 8 hours on a roof, and then travel home, then see my family and like see my kids for a bit, and then fuck off training.
To be fair, when I first met Simon, I didn't obviously understand so much because I didn't know his kind of work kind of routine. But ever since I started working with him, when I fought Ryan Sheehan, I'd done the same thing. I was working on the roofs. We were getting up at like, about 4 o'clock in the morning, doing pads in the morning, going to work all day, going up to Dean James's, which is 2 hours away from us.
2 hours from us, yeah.
And then getting in at midnight, doing it all over again. And to be honest, it was a fucking killer in the fight. I felt drained in the fight. I didn't feel fit.
I'm about to say, because you have 2 days rest before a fight, but that's not going to be long enough to recover from that. That's grueling. Training for a fight on its own's grueling, let alone doing all that shit and not getting the much sleep as you need and the rest and working all day when you really want to just be lied down, letting your body recover from morning training to evening and stuff like that.
And that's it. It's not like the jobs are you have to graft all day, so you're not resting at all.
I will say, I mean, luckily I'm my own boss, because I mean, I did get away with it, and this is what I do. I don't accept excuses from people, because I'm living proof that it can be done. If you want it hard enough, you'll make it work. You know, I mean, you can't tell me you haven't got enough hours in the day to train, because you have. But when you get to when I've got to like a higher level now, I do have to take 2 weeks off work and live and train like a proper fighter, because it just to make weight and all the rest of it. You know?
Yeah. Let me take you, I just want to go back a little bit. So you've walked into this Thai boxing gym for the first time, you started doing cardio. How long before you had your first fight, and what made you think, oh, I want to have a go at this?
Right, so I started training, and then I've always loved the fight. Like, I used to think I was hard. I wasn't hard. Do you know what I mean? All my mates were hard, but I was just like a little one, like a little Jack Russell. But so I loved like fighting. It gave me a buzz. I got addicted to it, so I sort of like transferred like one addiction to just fully Muay Thai. But then it wasn't it wasn't till I was till my dad's my mum got diagnosed with cancer, and then 2 months later my dad just got some lung disease and died. And it was when I was in the hospital on the night, like when me and my mum were waiting for him to sort of like, we were gonna have to turn him off the ventilator and everything. I just thought, you know, my life's fucking short. Like, and that was it. It ticked in my head. I was like, I want to be a fighter. I thought this as he was on his deathbed. I thought, I need to do something with my life. I need to make something of myself. Do you know what I mean? I've wasted it. You've only got one life. His is over now. I need to do something. And that just sort of, and then like I think a lot of people thought, because I was already on the path to recovery. I'd already started sorting myself out. But I think a lot of people thought, he's going to go off the rails now. He's going to go back to it. And everyone would have excused me for it. And I could have been like, my dad's died, and that's an excuse to get on. But I just thought, I just transferred it the other way. I was like, no, I want to be a fighter. And then that was it. I just that's what I wanted to do, and I still want to do it. I can't ever imagine not doing it. Do you know? That's
class, because I get a lot of messages on like my Instagram and stuff like that saying, I'm 22 years old, I'm 23 years old, I've never been in a gym. Is it too late to start Thai boxing? But you're living proof at 25. You can still get to a top level, a good level. You fought in Thailand, you fought for UK #1 spot. So that's living proof right there that 25 or even younger. I know people who've started, I think Andy Frasher were only like, what was Frasher, 23, 24 when he started? Or maybe older.
Yeah. I think he was older.
He were older. Do you know what I mean? So no, 25 isn't too young. My sponsor at Say Scaffolding, Phil Wetton, he walked into a gym for the first time at 44, had his first fight at 47. He finished with a record of 3 wins, 2 losses at 50. Yeah. So it's not
Muay Thai's for everyone. If you want it, age is just an excuse, isn't it? There is, I mean, obviously the people like Daniel started young, and your Stuart Stablers and have been doing it since they're kids, and that, you know, you may not get to elite level if you don't start as a kid. You might do, but there's no reason you can't. If you want it, you can make it happen, you know?
Exactly. Dan, I want to come back to you. You've spent a lot of time in Thailand, you fought in the stadiums, you've got experience out there. How important do you think it is for a young fighter who does want to get to elite level to spend this time in Thailand to learn how to fight, how they do and stuff like that? Because you've done it similar to how I done it. You've got a better record than me at stadium, so you bastard. But I don't think a lot of these youngsters these days, they don't realise how hard it actually is to fight with the way they fight, to weigh in on the day, on the morning of the fight, and to do it how they do it with the gamblers and stuff like that. Just how important do you think that is?
Yes, I mean, for me, I think it's made my career, because you've got to put up, like you said, there's so much going on. It's not just you go in and fight. You've got to listen to the gamblers, what they want to see in the fight. Then you've got your corner team, they're kind of speaking to the gamblers, and it changes round by round. So they might want you to kick one round, and the next minute they're telling you to box, and the next they want you to clinch more.
And then they're taking on your back foot and teep and stuff like that. It's hard to decipher what's going on and what you should do. I've lost fights in stadium because of that. I've been told to go back foot, but I've gone forward, took 2 kicks and lost.
I've had the same when I drew a fight, and it was the same sort of thing. They told me to just back off, and I think I tried throwing a kick, and he landed one, and it ended in the draw. And it can switch like that, boom. But I think mentally it's really prepared me for all of my fights, because it's daunting going into that stadium. It's not luxurious. It's a bit it's dark. It's gloomy. It's not what you'd think. What we watch on the TV, like Madison
not fighting
Square.
in no big nice arena and stuff like that.
It's pretty horrible, especially when I was like 15.
Nothing better.
I love it. It's probably Rajadamnern's probably my favourite place to fight. But you're walking in. There's all you don't speak the language, and this is mad. But mentally, it's prepared me, and it's kind of now I feel like I've kind of developed a mindset where I don't really give a shit about anything. I'm up to fight anyone. I don't really mind.
In the stadiums in Thailand, if you are going to go out to Thailand, I think it's important as well, touching on this, you do need to find a gym and trainers who you gel with, because there'll be a lot of youngsters who've listened to us talk before and who will want to go out there and do this, but unless you find a gym who look after you, who manage you right, which is very, very difficult in Thailand, unless you gel with a trainer out there, it's tough, innit?
Yeah, I actually had this conversation with someone the other day, and I said that there's these sponsorships getting thrown about now because they're seeing Westerners, if they've got a big profile, we'll sponsor you, you get free training, but don't just go to a gym just because they're giving you a sponsorship. Go to a good gym where you're going to develop, because like I said, you're not going to get anywhere if you do that, and in the end, I think you're just going to get mugged off anyway. And I'm lucky. I've got Palm Pet who kind of always had my back, so he'd always speak to the trainers because he's so famous in Thailand and stuff. He always kind of had my back that way. But then I found Petchyindee and I got a real good relationship with them, and it's lucky that they're like the top promoters in the stadium. So I'm lucky in that way that I found them and they kind of liked me. But again, I think you just work hard and they'll respect you for it.
So that must have been insane. You got snapped up by Petchyindee, how old were you, 18?
18, yeah.
So 18 years old, said, right, we want to sponsor you as a fighter. Come out, live in the gym with Sammy, with Nongo, with all the elite legends of this era. How was that? How did you find that at the time? It must have been a bit surreal, like being in that position.
Like when I was hitting pads, sometimes I'd look around and I'm like, Same's doing fucking 20 kicks in about 2 seconds. There
was that video that came out where you had to go after him.
I had to go after him.
Yeah. I'd have got ring me. I'd have gone, get the fuck out of here. I'm not going on there.
That's what they'll come back to England. Make me do one.
But yeah, like I used to look around and think, fucking hell, like Nongo was one of my heroes. I loved the way he fought. Same's obviously a massive legend. Then you've got Pet Morocco, who's like the rising star. Then you've got, to be honest, now you've got about 30 or 40 fights in there.
That gym is ridiculous.
Unbelievable how many fighters they've got now, and they're all probably top 10, top 5, most of them in the stadium. So it was like, it's like getting signed for like Real Madrid. For me. It was like my dream come true, and then it come at a good time after Liam passed and stuff like that. So yeah, amazing feeling, and to get the respect off of such big promoters, it's a good feeling.
I want to come back to you, Simon. We touched on it a bit earlier because this comes down to being a fighter in Thailand as well. You mentioned it just there. If you are, you have to have a strong mind, because it takes a lot to get up and leave England, go live in a gym with loads of Thais when you don't speak their language, and pretty much bully you some days in sparring and clinching and stuff like that. And to wake up day in, day out. I see a lot of fighters over here that will get up, they'll go to Thailand, do a camp, have a fight, come home, and they'll be like, yeah, I went to Thailand, they did a fight camp. Staying out there for a long period of time, fighting after 3 weeks, then doing it again 3 weeks later, and again 3 weeks later, and having a fight, especially when you're fighting for money to stay there and survive, and having a poke, we're getting bullied every day and getting thrown around in clinch by some 6-year-old who's that big and stuff like that. It's demoralising. You do have to be really strong-minded for stuff like that. So I just want to come back to Simon and touch on how important is that for you. Obviously, you talked about the addictive personality and stuff. The mindset that you have to do, getting up at that time every work. Some days you must think, in this fight camp, fuck me, I've got to do this again today. It must drain on you a little bit.
It is definitely draining. I mean, the travelling was the hardest thing for me. But I literally spent most of the last 6-7 years going to work and then travelling the country to get beat up. literally. But it's true though. When I was at Super Pitch, I was getting battered. It was like Panicos. Everyone battered me at Super Pitch. When I was a C-class fighter, that brought me up to and then obviously travelling up to Dean's and sparring with all them lot, and then now travelling up to Leeds after work and that, getting battered. You've got to love it though. If you don't love it, I love the training. It's tiring, but if you don't love the training, the fighting's the main, the icing on the cake. But if you don't love the actual training, which I do, I love the training. Every time I come away after having a wicked spar, I remember driving back from Dean's and out. I always have a war with Dean. Me and him just fucking war in the gym. But I'd come back and I'd be buzzing. I'm wide awake. That
comes back to again the mindset of having to take yourself out of your comfort zone. Because whenever I went to Thailand and I was getting battered off the ties, I was like, fucking hell, that were ace.
Yeah.
Even though I might have just got kicked up and down the gym or thrown around, it's exactly the same. It's back to that mindset of getting out of your comfort zone and enjoying being out of your comfort zone.
If you're always winning, you're not developing, are you?
Exactly.
If you're always beating people up in the gym, you see loads of people, they're sort of like the gym bully, or they get good and they can beat up at the gym. I literally, travel around to get beat up. That's luckily I've started to come here now, and I'm fuck me, before Yoka, I did 10 rounds with you 2 weeks before. I don't think I hit you once.
Well,
That's what I was saying earlier to you before we were sparring. I was like, fucking hell, actually, Simon's took a lot of pace since I've known him. Every time, but he comes out and he's like, yeah, buzzing about that. I'm like, what? How are you buzzing about that?
The thing is, though, probably like a fucking breath of fresh air for him when he gets in there to fight someone who's his weight, and then who's not as experienced and stuff like that. That's what brings you on and stuff if you look at your recent performances against Evan James, Jacob Smith, you know what I mean? Those sparrings, those pastings you've took over the year, they all add up to where you are now.
Yeah. Nah, definitely. You've got to, having the right people around you and constantly training with better people. That's the only way you're going to get better.
Yeah, 100%.
But you've got to be, as well, not just that, you've got to be fully committed. You've got to make the sacrifice. You've got to be... Since I've started Thai boxing, I've been doing it pretty much every single day of my life,
Yeah, that's where we were fucking losing his mind when this lockdown started. I was texting you every day, have you gone to the gym yet? I need to go to the gym, I need to get to the gym, I need to eat some pads, mate, I'm losing my mind. You're going, I'm fucking losing my mind, I'm losing my mind.
I have to deal with him every day.
That's where we'd be lucky. Most of the people work for me, they all do Thai boxing. Right, we're hitting pads.
While we're still on this talking about mindset and being strong-minded, I want to come back to you, Dan. You've been horrifically injured for the last 18 months with your hand, and it's been a bit of an ongoing issue over the last couple of years. Obviously, there's many people who get an injury like that and nearly just fucks it off, they're retired. But what's impressive is about you, the goal has not changed at all. No matter how I spoke to you, you said, right, I'll be getting sorted soon. You haven't stopped training, you've stayed on the ball. I sparred with you today, you were still sharp. Do you want to just talk us a bit how the first time it happened and how bad it's actually got at the minute, and just waiting for your surgery again now?
Yeah, so I did it, I think the first ever time I broke my hand was about 3 years ago now, and I did it in training. And then they told me to go off and rest it. So I rested for about 6 months. Come back, and then that's when I had 3 fights. I had the Ryan Sheen fight. I come back and I fought Ryan Sheen for the world title. Then I fought Rungnarai on Yokkao, and then I fought Thanadet in Thailand. And against Thanadet, I broke it again. But I say breaking again, it was a problem that was just there that they hadn't really told me was there. So it was my metacarpals were dislocated. And every time I was punching, my hand was just swelling up. So then I got again, they just said to me, just rest it. So I rested again, 6 months, 7 months again. Then come back, I had 2 fights in Thailand. I won both them fights again. And then the second fight, done it again.
You were on the best form I've ever seen you in at that point.
Yeah, I think I'm on 6 or 7 in a row now. And I've beaten some top names in that 7. So I was on a roll, and that's the frustrating. That's where we're talking about mindset. It was killing me, to be honest. Simon, I speak to you a lot, and I think mentally it was really getting to me, because I'm seeing these guys kind of fighting on one, or doing having big fights, and I was there and kind of being stopped in my tracks for something that wasn't my fault. It's frustrating, but I think for about 3-4 months I was proper remote. I've said this before. I wouldn't say I was depressed. I wouldn't jump on that kind of, because that's just being the victim mentality. But I was down about it like constantly, and I thought, oh, will I ever fight again? And I've put my whole life. As soon as I finished GCSEs, I was in Thailand. I'd put everything into it. So I've had to get over a lot of like mental kind of like challenges, and I'd say it's painful physically, but the mental side of things was a lot harder. But yeah, I come up. The actual thing that switched my mind was I come up with Simon. He was training for, who you training? You were training to fight. I think that's when you missed weight actually. That one.
What, the French lad?
Yeah, the Blackpool one. And I come up and I was out of shape. This is when I was being the victim. Like kind of, I didn't really train that much for 3 months after the surgery. I was out of shape. I was fat, and I got in a picture of all of you.
Was that the photo in the swimming pool?
That one, yeah. The swimming pool.
Yeah, boy, that ruined him. Like, what have I done to myself?
That was
just so people know. He was in the swimming pool at the hotel, and Forrest copped a photo of him and sent it to Alison, which then went viral. It went all over because Andy's a little bastard, and he just went, right, I've got him here. It were all over Instagram, all over Facebook, and Dan looked like Homer Simpson. It was scandalous. It was scandalous. And I think that put you for, what have I done? What have I done to myself?
Like, we're joking about it, but seriously, I looked at the photos. There was that photo, and there was another one of us all in the gym, and I had a vest on, and I just looked like a fat cunt. It was like fat legs, like just look no definition. I was like, and you are all ready for fight, so you all ripped. I was like, nah, I need to sort myself out and stop feeling sorry for myself. That was what it was. It was just feeling sorry for, I can't punch, so I'm not going to train. But I've sorted it out. I'm training most days. I think now nearly every day, and once this surgery gets done in a couple of weeks, I'm ready to go again. I can't wait.
Yeah, and obviously moving up to Leeds, going to be part of the Bad Company gym with us.
He's got to finish his roofing contract.
Yeah. Simon's like, fuck it, I'm moving to Leeds as well. Obviously, you're moving gyms, moving up to now. You've had an amazing career with Palm, with Liam, Petchyindee. What do you think moving to our gym with us is going to help and progression bring to your career?
I think ever since Liam died, I think I was struggling to find a team what I really I felt really comfortable with. And obviously I've been mates with you guys for a long time, and I know you were mates with Liam. And then I come up to train again when I come up with Simon, and I thought it just felt good, and everyone was having a laugh, but there's obviously that aspect of things, and then the training's just unbelievable. So when I've sparred with you guys, I come out of there and I'm like, fucking hell, I've learned. Like, I mean, my right kick's my thing, and I'm landing it today, like, for instance, and then you start catching, you sweep me, and I'm like, I don't ever get sweep like that. But I'm going to have to find a way to stop that happening, and it's just going to build my kind of skill set. And that's the main thing, is being around fighters like yourself and Andy and Jordan, Joe Crape, all of them.
Got Badger and stuff as well. We've got a solid team for sparring.
Wait to spar a Badger.
Well, yeah, I'm buzzing actually, because Badger messaged me the other day and went, I've seen you on back in gym. I went, yeah, what you doing? He went, being fat. I went, yes. I thought, as soon as he gets back in there, I'm getting him. I'll tell you what that bastard did to me once. He waited till the day I got back from a beefer. And he went, right, you coming sparring tomorrow? I went, oh no, mate. I came at gym, and honestly, he fucking kicked me upside down that gym. It was one of the worst batterings I've ever had in sparring. And I thought, right, you bastard. I ever forgot that. That was about 4 years ago. And I never forgot it. So when he gets back in that gym, he's getting it.
Well, that's why I was buzzing. I was texting you when please batter him.
Yeah.
Please batter him.
I seen him do it. I seen him sparring you lot last time when I was up, and I was like, yeah, you look.
Yeah, he's one of the best technical fighters I've ever sparred, but he can mix his game up as well. He can box, he can kick, he can do it all. And the thing is, he reads what you're going to do. He's like 4 steps ahead of you, and before you've thrown something, he's countered it, done something else, and then you're just in a position where you can't do all.
That's what I found, his timing and his distancing. Like, you go to it, and he'd just be just out of range, and then he'd hit you. It was like, fuck.
And even though he's only short, his arms are right long, so he can smack you from miles away and stuff. So, yeah, like, the team that you are going to have for sparring here, obviously me, Andy, Craven, Badger, Jordan, it's difficult to beat anywhere like that in UK, really.
Yeah, there's no, like, for years since I was a kid, I watched you guys, and you are all my kind of heroes, really, because you are all at the top level. So, and I saw the team that you were kind of with, like, you all kind of bounce off each other. And I think that's the most important thing, is like we said about the Thailand thing, it's the same here. You've got to be with people that you trust, and people that you get on with, and kind of who are similar and understand you. So that's the thing I'm most looking forward to, and I'm obviously sacrificing everything. I'm moving up to Leeds, and So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to upping my skills and again, it's the Thailand thing was the thing I was doing, but I think financially it's not doable. You can't build a future. There's nothing you can't build off of anything there. You can build a name, but you can't financially. You're never going to be stable. So
now there's stuff like One Championship, big shows all around Europe, the big shows in England and stuff now where you can make good money and you can make a living. You can like pave your way for the rest of your life from stuff now. Yeah. Like it's not like in Thailand where you're fighting for 200 quid in stadiums also, do you know what I mean, and stuff like that to get your name known and stuff. Everyone knows who you are already now, so it's just like building there for you. I want to come back to Simon now. So obviously you done your journey, you've come up, you've started fighting. When you fought Jacob Smith, that was like for basically the number one spot in the UK. How did that feel, knowing where you'd come from and you'd got yourself to that point in that fight and fighting not only for that spot but on one of the biggest shows in the country? And how would that was that a bit surreal, knowing where you'd come from, getting to that point?
Yeah, I suppose it was really. I mean that was probably that fight. I took that proper serious. You know, it was Yokkao. First time fighting on Yokkao.
That the first time you've been on Yokkao as well?
Yeah, Jacob was a unit as well. I had to unfollow him on Instagram because I was sick of seeing him doing
4 million burpees.
Yeah, 70,000 kettlebell swings, weighted vest, muscle ups in a weighted vest, and that looking like fucking.
Just so anyone who don't know who's listening out there, Jacob Smith is a UK number one at 57 kilos. He's probably one of the fittest people I've ever seen. He's an absolute beast. I've sparred with him a few times down at Bad Company when we've all been there, and he's an absolute beast. He's short, little tank, strong, powerful low kick, heavy hitter, good clinching and stuff like that. So it was two good styles. You're a bit taller than him and stuff. And that fight, you just went insane from first bell. It were amazing.
Yeah, I remember you saying it coming into the change room saying, that was fight of the night, man.
Yeah, and it obviously ended in a bit of controversy. Well, they won't. Controversy really, it was just a scandalous disqualification because I've had you slightly ahead in that fight. It was a crazy first opening 2.5 rounds. Jacob was just starting to come back into it as well, so the end of the fight would have been amazing, but obviously he booted you in face while you were on the floor and KO'd you like actual Stuart Pearce straight in the face.
Yeah, it was horrendous. I did go quite mad, didn't I? I just went off. I felt that the first 2 rounds, I don't think it really touched me. Like I think a lot of people wrote me off with that fight. I mean, I took it seriously. I went to Thailand. I go to Thailand every year, but it's the first time I've been to Thailand and not had a fight. So I went to Thailand to train. I trained at Petchyindee and then I went to get finished at Yokkao gym.
Oh yeah.
And but yeah, it was a good performance. It was going on to be one of my best performances, and I think I proved that I am at that level. You know, like I was sort of taking him apart in the first couple of rounds, but in the third round he was coming back, so it would have been interesting to see where it went. But
you proved it in that fight, and you proved it in the Evan Jays fight as well, because obviously he's been getting billed as being one of the next up-and-coming superstars, but you returned the favour in that fight with a bit of controversy, but you were doing a bit of a number on Evan in that fight, to be fair. And I think that we're only going to end one way. So to show in both of them fights what the level you are actually at, that were two of your best performances, really, weren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
I think as well. Sorry.
Go on.
But going back to the whole team thing, what I was saying is that I'm with him every day, and I said to him, he was saying about Jacob when he unfollowed him. He's like, he's massive, and I was like, mate, look at you. Like you're a big. He made 57 that time, and I was like, you're bigger than Jacob. Like so. I was like, you need to just have confidence. You train with me, you train with Liam, you train with Andy, you train with all these guys, and we're not absolutely like obliterating you. You know what I mean? We've been doing it years, and you always hold your own. You always give us good spars and stuff. So, like, I kind of drilled it into him that he was good enough to do it, and then because people were writing him off before the fight.
And again, that comes back to that how strong your mind was before that fight.
I mean, my mind. I do obviously. Tony Myers, he's got credit for getting me, like, for the two people who've helped me the most in my whole Thai boxing journey, get me to where I am, is Daniel, obviously been there every day to train me and pad me and teach me and batter me. And then Tony Myers, when I started working with Tony Myers with my mind work, that was a complete game changer to me. So I wasn't, like, when it come to the fight day, when I fought Evan, Jacob, like when I got in there, this is what I do. Like I wasn't nervous. I was bothered about Jacob. Do you know what I mean?
People don't understand how strong your mind is. like you say there, I've done the similar thing that you've done with Vinny before and stuff like that. I did it before the Anawat fight and the Coolbin fight, and they were two of my best performances as well. So that is, again, it's like getting your mind as strong as your body. If you're really fit, but like you've not got that mentality. And I've seen like people do stupid shit like running marathons and that, and saying, yeah, look at me, blah blah blah. But if you're not that strong mentally in a fight, when someone punches you in the face or kicks you in the leg or whacks you in the body and it hurts, if you ain't got that about you to say, right, bite on your gum shield and let's go, it don't matter. You can do you can look as amazing on the pads as you want, you can run all the miles you want, you can smash the pads to smithereens, but if you ain't got that when someone hits you and you say, right, fuck it, let's go, it's a whole different kettle of fish, really.
There's two sort of factors there. Like, obviously you need to have your mind in the right place, which like hypnosis and that can definitely help, and having training your mind. But obviously, like what you're saying, if you haven't got heart, then you will crumble. You know, luckily I before always had heart. That's what got me to be at Liam's when I was just getting battered by everyone, because I had heart. I stuck at it. You know what I mean? But if you don't have heart, even you could be the most skilled person, if you ain't got heart, then you can be broken, you know?
That comes back to what we were saying in Thailand as well, because I know a lot of people who have gone out there and they have probably got sick of getting battered every day in the gym by the top Thais. And I've seen a lot of people go out there and they'll be at a really strong gym. The next thing, I'll see them at like some gym in Phuket or Samui that ain't going to get them fights in stadiums, and they'll be fighting in Bangla Stadium and stuff like that. And I think that's a similar thing where you can see where people have thought, you know what, fuck this isn't for me, getting battered like this every day. I'm off down at beach, I'm going to play out down here on Bangla Road, I'm going to do all the rest of it, and then just have a few fights in shitty stadiums and that.
I was going to say as well about the whole, when we were saying about mental training and stuff like that, the fight's so different. So you can... I love this Dave. I read the David Goggins book and stuff, and it is amazing. And he's an amazing human. But like we said, getting punched and elbowed when there's another man across the ring absolutely battering you, there's nothing that doesn't compare to anything. So you can do all these crazy training kind of regimes and stuff, but when someone's actually elbowing you in the face and you're actually getting made to look like a little boy against these men, it's humiliating and it's different. And then, like Simon said, that's where the heart comes in. Like, you've got to have the heart, otherwise you'll never get through that. No matter what the training you do, whatever you do, if you don't have it inside, you'll never get anywhere.
And that comes down to two things. You either have it or you don't. And that is that, unfortunately. Exactly. That's why fighting is not for everyone. Like, I know a lot of people who get to a decent level and you think, oh, wow, this kid's fucking talented. He could go somewhere here. He's amazing. But then when he fights someone who's just as talented as him, it comes down to who's tougher, who's worked harder in the gym, who's put them extra rounds in sparring, and who just wants it more, really. And like I say, that comes back to again what we said: want it or you don't. You either have it or you don't.
I see that with people. Also, I think it's being able to lose and bounce back. I see a lot of people that are really good, like when they start out and they're winning, and then they have one bad loss, and then they give up. Oh, this is not for me. Like, you've got to take the good with the bad. Like, obviously you want to be good, you've got to have a winning mindset, but sometimes shit ain't going to go your way. It's Muay Thai, you know. Sometimes do you know what I mean? But it's the ones that want it will come back. Like, I've had bad losses, but I'm still here. I'll come back and I'll fight again. It's the ones who, oh no, it's not for me. As soon as it doesn't go their way, they give up.
My first loss, I got fucking absolutely destroyed, and I don't think anyone would have blamed me if I'd have gone, you know what, I'm not doing that again. But that's what I did. I got up and I thought, you know what, I need to learn to fight out, because it was a Thai who did it to me. I'd gone 29 fights unbeaten, and I thought, fucking hell, I can knock everyone out here. And I dropped him, it would do Ao Kong Udom, and then he got up and he raped me. It was absolutely, it was disgraceful what he did to me, the way he beat me down. And I remember getting out of the ring and I was pissing blood and all sorts for a few days because he'd kneed me to pieces. I lasted the distance and stuff, and I showed heart to last. But then I thought, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to Thailand. I need to learn to fight how they can fight and mix it with my own style. So after that, I went to Thailand for, I think, 6 months on for a month, 6 months on for a month, 6 months on for a month. And I just did that for 2 years just so I could like try and adapt my style. That comes back to how much do you want something. I didn't want to get to that level and just be like the guy who, you were all right, he did okay. I wanted to get into that level and I wanted to fight with the best of the best. Speaking about fighting with the best of the best, Dan, your performance against Rungnarai, was that your most favourite of your career, or was the Paolo one your most favourite career? Because they are both milestones in your career, both amazing performance, but the one against Rungnarai, Lumpini champion, fighter of the year, that must have been up there as one of the best.
Yeah, so different stages of my career. So Paolo, like you said, it was a milestone. I've always looked at fighting Paolo, and I got to that stage, and then it was the next step, and the next step was world elite level against people like Rungnarai. I actually remember the first big show I went to in the UK was you and Senchai #1, and I remember you coming out to Oasis and the Batman theme as well, the Joker.
Yeah.
And I was like, mate, I want to be that guy, man. Like I said to my dad, I was like, that was amazing. You were coming out, everyone was like clapping you, and I was like, I want to fight the Thais like this. That I think that was when I really, really wanted it, is when I saw you fight Senchai. And then so when I got the chance to fight Rungnarai, like that was my kind of career kind of defining fight, if you want. And yeah, I was just so, my mindset was just bulletproof for that one. I knew I was going to beat him from the get-go. I knew it. And I knew people doubted me as well, because I'd watched him fight for years, and he like Rajadamnern champion, Lumpini champion, Thailand champion, and then he went after
from Kiatmuu9 as well,
Kiatmuu9.
the most infamous gym in Thailand to make the strong boys like Singdam, Super Lake, etc., etc. And they've done it for years and years, haven't they?
Like homegrown as well. Like they haven't signed
Burry
it.
Ram boys.
Yeah. So when I got to fight him, I trained my arse off for it, and like I said, mindset was just bulletproof. I wanted to make a statement.
You did a number on him, to be fair. You hurt him.
Battered.
You hurt him.
I mean, I knew I was going to beat him, but I was expecting a 5-round hard fight. But then I was round by round, I was like, this is going perfect. And I actually remember coming into you after and saying, because I was low kicking a lot, and because I remember watching you against Singdam, and they're from the same gym, and I thought Singdam hated it when you were low kicking him, and they've got similar styles. They like to right kick. They're good clinchers and stuff like that. So I thought I'm just going to chop his leg and then maybe score in round 3 and 4 and 5 kind of thing. But then when I was hitting his leg, and I was like, I'm hurting him here. Like I knew it. And then I started hitting his body. You got to play in like put into consideration they'd flown over from Thailand. So I thought I was clever about it. I hit his body because he's going to be a little bit weaker. Started hitting his body, and that's when he started crumbling. And I could see it. There was round 1, he's smiling like they do. And I thought, no, I'm not going to play these games. I'm just going to stick on him. And then I carried on. And then I knew I think round 3, I knew I could get him out of there. And that's what I done. Yeah, I was so proud of myself to that.
I couldn't believe it, because he obviously working with him every day. All he talked about was Rungnarai, how good he was, how quick he was. I was like, fucking hell. Like, this geezer's, he put him on a pedestal like he's the best fighter in the world, sort of thing, at his weight. And then
Destroyed him.
Yeah, destroyed him.
He wasn't ready for that run, right? That was a complete, he thought he was probably going to come over, wipe the floor with the white boy, proper destroy him. And then when you actually, that first round, when you were kicking him, and he thought, oh shit, you could see it.
Yeah.
And he tried to switch on, but by that time it was too late. He took the damage already, and
I say this with the Thais as well. If you let them, you can give them an inch and they'll run a mile with you.
Yeah.
So you've got to be on them. So with him, he was smiling. I thought, I'm not playing these games, because I saw, again, I'll go back to the Senchai fight. And you didn't really, the first fight, I think you played a little bit in the last few rounds with him, but then the second fight,
I
you
went
didn't.
Insane.
Doncaster Dome.
I went insane
that
in
was
that
quality.
fight.
That was one of the first shows I went to.
And I thought, if that's what you've got to do with these guys, you can't give an inch or give them any respect in the ring, because they'll bat you. There's 300 fights in, and I've had like 30 fights. So yeah, I didn't want to play any games with him, and yeah, I think he just thought he was going to come over, easy money, and I don't want to be one of them guys like the Thai comes gets flown over, and oh yeah, you had a good fight with him, but you lost. I want to be the guy that takes him out, and that's what I want to keep doing as well. That's my dream. That's the next goal, is just to keep doing that now.
Well, you've got surgery coming up 2 weeks?
2 weeks now. Yeah.
How long will you be looking for you can get back in? Obviously, there's nothing happening at the minute with all this crazy corona business going on and stuff. Don't say a word. Don't say a word.
Don't start. We'll be here for another 2 hours.
Captain Conspiracy over here. But obviously, there's not going on at the minute. Al, do you see yourself like being back in the ring before the year's out, or hopefully if we can get some shows together, etc.?
I'd say after the surgery, I think the main thing is the rehab process, because I ain't been able to make a fist. That's been the problem. I think the rehab's going to be intense, and I'm fucking dreading it.
Do you just want to just explain a little bit to everyone who's listening what you actually happened to your hand?
Oh yeah, so I didn't actually finish that, did I?
No. We got too excited and went off on other stuff.
So, like I said, the third time I'd done it, I got the scans, and it come back that I'd actually had these metacarpals that were dislocated for 2 years. So I'd just doing more damage every time I was fighting, and I got the surgery on it, and I got it done in Thailand, because I was obviously living in Thailand at the time, and I just wanted to get it done. So I got it done, and it's probably yeah, it's definitely the worst thing I could have done, to be honest. But,
Well, I said this to you
Yeah.
because I remember when I bust my hand in Thailand one time, and I said, right, I'm definitely not getting surgery here. By the time I'd got home, I'd left it too late. So I were in a bit of a limbo. I'd left it too late. I just had to let it heal. And I went through a stage in my career where I couldn't use my right hand for about 3 years. But it wasn't too bad because I could still make a fist. I could still put in a glove and I could still use other weapons. And it probably brought my game in a little bit. But I think that's what worried me. If I did get it done in Thailand, then I might have been in the same situation you're in now.
You don't need a right hand anyway.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was like you said. I didn't want to leave it, and then it would just fuck me up even more. And it's like when you're injured. I was on this crest of a wave, winning all these fights. I thought I just want to get it sorted. Didn't really do any research into it, but with the hand, it's there's not that many specialists even in England. So I should have got it done by.
There's so much going on under there with all the small bones, like the ligaments and all sorts.
And then I got the surgery, and then now I've got another problem with the tendon that's stuck, so I can't actually make the fist. This metacarpal or this finger won't bend in.
Put your hand to the camera.
So I've got a little hook.
Yeah. It'll be all right when you fight on one championship with MMA gloves.
Little
On.
stab. But so I don't want to really go into it too much, but they fucked me over a lot when I come back from Thailand because they were meant to be the aftercare. And they were giving me wrong advice, and I've been doing all this rehab, and I was like, this is not right. Like this can't be happening still. Like I can't make a fist. So I went to one of the best surgeons in London, had to fork out for it, but it's been the best thing I've done because now I'm getting surgery, and he knew straight away what to do. So he did say though that the rehab's going to be horrendous. So, but it is what it is. I've just got to do it. That's what I've got to do to get to where I want to get. So
as soon as that's done, future goals. What are obviously you've achieved a lot already, and you're still only a baby at 24 years old. You've got at least a good 10 years at least left in you yet to get top level and keep doing what you are doing at top level. What are your future goals? What do you want to achieve now?
So I think my main goal now is, I'd say I just want to make a living out of it and fight the best and beat the best. But if we're talking titles, won championships, the goal, and I think that's probably most people would aspire to get there. And it's not out of my reach. I think I can do it. Like, some of the guys in the rankings at my weight in one, I think like Rui Batella, I've beaten him already. There's guys now beaten already
Easily,
yeah,
as well. Easily
like
beating him,
comfortably beating him.
Yeah.
So it's there, you know what I mean. And I've even we've had talks about fighting people like Rocky Ogden already before when my hand was all kind of when I thought it was sorted. So these guys were on my radar anyway. So that's the goal, is to fight whoever, the best. I just want to fight the best, and I want to make a name for myself. I want to make a career out of it and just live a happy life from it, to be honest.
Si, where do you see your career going now? So you're at this level now where the UK #1 spots are obviously in reach you and stuff. What do you want to? You just want to keep fighting to the highest level that you're at?
Yeah, I just want to keep fighting the better opponents and keep testing myself and just be involved in good fights for as long as possible. Really, I've got no intention of packing up anytime soon. I may be 35.
That's only same as me. Do you know what? The way that fighters are at the minute now, we know about recovery. We know about healthy living and healthy diets, supplements, strength and conditioning training, injury prevention. A lot of the Thais back in the day, which is why they retire in mid-20s, having all these fights. And this one around, we've got cryotherapy. People know about ice baths. There's massage. There's ways to look after yourself now. So 35, I feel sound at 35 still. Even I've had a lot of fights, and I still feel like I've got another 3 years left at top level easily. There's John Wayne Parr, 44, just signed for one championship. Old Man River, Andy Howson, 153 years old. He's signed for one championship. These guys are still going strong. So 35, it's not that. It's not.
That's it. I got into it late, and like you said, you know what. I don't do long runs on the road and stuff like that, so I'm not knackering my body. I think that's why a lot of the Thais. I mean, I remember Damien Alamos saying that the runs that they do, it just knackers your body.
That was when I lived there. That was the one thing I hated, getting made to go to that park and run 10, 12k every morning. Unless your weight's sky high, I honestly don't believe that's sport specific whatsoever. No. You don't fight at a slow, steady pace like you run around that park. It's hard to run around fast in that ridiculous heat. The best thing, I believe, is sprint work, either on a tread or incline or something like that, because you fight in bursts.
Like bang, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. Sort of
get your heart rate through the roof. not like just jogging slowly like that. What, you're not getting out of breath doing that. You're just smashing your legs to pieces, really. Yeah, it might give you strong legs, but it also might ruin your knees, might mash your hips up. And I'm not surprised a lot of them do retire young after doing that. Like 10k in the morning, 5k before training in the evening, 15k every day. It's ridiculous when you've got to spar, clinch, smash the pads, bag work, all the rest of it as well. Is that what you do, the sprint work?
Yeah, so but basically I do as much. When I first started out, I did well too much strength and conditioning and CrossFit and stuff, and it's all right on the side, but it wasn't. So when I started getting good was when I did as much Muay Thai as possible.
Yeah.
Clinch, pad, sparring is my main training, then obviously the run. So 5k and then if on a treadmill, 5k, and then say like progressively getting bigger. Like, so the first 3 minutes I'll do it like on 13k, then I'll put it up to 14k, 15k sort of, and I'll do that for like 5k or 15 minutes.
And it's more sport specific, getting your heart rate through roof like that, instead of just getting out on a park like the Thai. This is what I believe anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously it works for them, but they're in a gym with loads of other champions learning technique and stuff after. Over here, if we haven't got like 10, 15 amazing trainers in our gym, so we need to make our training a little bit different, but there's no need for it over here, I don't think, at all.
And the obviously with people, I mean, not like yourself, obviously a top level professional fighters, but when people like me, we got a job and that as well, you haven't got all the time to recover from long runs and everything, so it's better to be specific, like you said, sports specific for the fight, and you can smash a treadmill in 25 minutes. You can do all you need to do in that time. You don't need to go on a massive 10, 12k run on the road. You can just get it done on the treadmill at the end of your pads or sparring or whatever. And that's what I've always been fit. I've never not been fit. I've always been, every gym
You're
I've
one of
gone
the fittest
to,
people I know.
everywhere, every gym
He's
I've ever gone
insane.
to.
It's horrible. Some of the rounds I do with him.
Every gym I've ever been to or trained with, everyone's like, fucking so fit. Like, I've never not been fit. That's one of my main things. And I just do as much Muay Thai as possible, and I do the treadmill runs like you. When the Tabata, like 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, for like 10 rounds or whatever.
Do you agree with that, Dan?
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. My legs were getting smashed to bits when I was at Petchyindee. Me and Savash used to cry to each other. It'd be like Monday, well, it'd be about Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 days into our training. And I used to think, I can't do this. I can't keep doing this. My legs are fucked. But no wonder but at one point, there was about 10 of us going to the hospital with like injuries on our legs and stuff like that. So even though the Thais kind of just go through it, they still feel the effects of it as well.
They sneak off, don't they?
Do you know what? I was about to say that at Jitty's, what used to do my head in. We go to park and then Mecca's run round park like 4 times that morning. They do one time, pour loads of water over themselves, and then go back to the gym, and then they see you're knackered and go, Liam, come on, clinch. Liam, come on, sparring. And they just take liberties and beat you down.
Yeah.
Most gyms I've trained at in Thailand, like the Thais sort of shade off and they walk and they hide and they go. Apart from Sing Patong, Mart, I think, I don't know if you know Mart, the trainer who's that Alamos's main trainer. He drives behind them on a moped with a stick. Fucking whack him up.
Alamos did say. Alamos said the run killed his career. Like he said, that's what. Really
because he retired 24, 25?
23, 24, 25.
Really?
Yeah, something around that.
Lumpini champion, defending the belt, fighting the best level, all of a sudden gone.
Yeah, and he said the running was just, he goes, he couldn't handle that. And I think Sing Patong, you've been, it's all like mountains, like uphill.
Yeah, in Phuket, it's all just
So he said his legs were just destroyed.
You can't do work like that every day and then still come back and put in 100% in.
Well, that's the thing. If you overdo it, like it's like going back to the CrossFit thing. If you do too much CrossFit, too much weight, and that, you're then not performing on the area you need to perform the most. So your technique's suffering because your legs are tired. So you're not kicking properly on the pads, you're not clinching sparring because you've knackered yourself out too much. So you've got to be sensible with your training to get your best out of your Muay Thai. If you're fighting Muay Thai, you need to be training Muay Thai more than you're doing.
If you're a football player, you're not just going to do too much of one other thing. Your main thing is going to be football.
Yeah.
You might do strength and conditioning once or twice a week here and there, but if you're overdoing it, then you're just going to ruin yourself, basically.
Sorry, just before we finish that as well, my physio was saying that the strength and conditioning is more not just to make you like powerful on the pads, it's or on punching and stuff. It's to build an armor for your body to prevent
injury prevention.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
That's why it's important mainly.
I've just started doing a bit of FRC work now as well with Steve Campbell, because we've always used to do like heavy S&C sessions and fitness and stuff like that. But I've realised now the older I do get, you need to look after your joints as well. So we're doing it the other day on neck, shoulders. Me and Andy did one the other day on hips and just getting like the movement back in your hips, because if your joints are strong, when you throw a kick, it's not going to be like next day getting up and going, oh, I feel like shit, I can't move. You need to keep yourself supple and loose.
Yeah. I see you with the bands, and that's like doing your stabilising muscle, like you said, stabilising your joint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you guys. There were some really good insights there. I'm going to wrap this up. Dan, where can they catch you on social media?
Instagram is Dan McGowan MT, and same as Twitter, and then on my Facebook page I think is Daniel McGowan. And then YouTube channel is Dan McGowan Muay Thai channel. So yeah.
Super Petch Sci-Fo on Instagram, Simon Forrest on Facebook, and Rough Diamonds MMA.
Right, thank you guys. There's some really, really good insights there. I hope everyone took a little bit away from that. Wrapping it up. See you later.
Thank you, mate.